Hello and welcome to another episode of The Frontiers. Today is episode 8 and my name is Dennis, the co-host of The Frontiers. Today I have with me Jeffrey and Isaac. We are talking about a very interesting topic today. It's been a very interesting journey talking about Web3 in Africa, coming on this podcast and starting The Frontiers as an experience. It's been something I would say has been an interesting journey, and would like to, before we jump in proper, say a very big thank you to our audience, our listeners, our partners, investors, and folks that have been supporting us generally at Yuki and have been rooting for us to do big things. Today we are talking about a very important topic, but before we do that, I would like to leave the floor to Jeffrey and Isaac to say hello to the audience before we move forward. Isaac and Jeffrey, please. Any of you go first. Jeffrey.
Yeah, hi everyone. I would definitely love to say a very big thank you to the listeners. We are here because of you guys. We started this podcast as a way to spread information about the space in Africa, and right now it's growing into something bigger than we thought it would be. So, thank you very much to our listeners.
Yeah, Isaac, over to you. Please.
Isaac, Jeffrey has said it. Dennis has said our mind, and honestly, it's been really amazing. This is our 8th episode. This is our 8th episode. It's been surreal, honestly. Thanks, guys. We look forward to having a conversation today.
Yeah, sure. So we're talking about shutdowns, right? We're talking about the Patrica hack. Why are Web3 startups in Africa shutting down? Given the adoption story we are seeing from chain analysis, Bitcoin stablecoin adoption is growing in Africa. More and more people are adopting this asset class. People are building payment solutions. Bondo just dropped trading and they moved trades to stablecoin payment solutions. Even here at Yuki, as an infrastructure company, we are seeing a lot of companies come talk to us with a very unique use case on how they're using stablecoins or Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies to solve key important use cases. And the question we will be asking ourselves internally as a team is, with all these things we are seeing internally, why are people shutting down? Why are companies folding up? Why are companies, investors are losing money? This is VCs that invested in Africa are losing a lot of money. I had a conversation with the founder in London today. He's a Nigeria-focused founder, but he's based in London. He's building an OTC service. He was trying to raise money for his company, and it's a crypto platform. And we were chatting, and he was telling me about how hard is it for them to kind of convince investors right now as an African company, how terrible it has been that most investors are kind of losing interest in probably African founders don't have what it takes to execute on the business side, that we are just tech people. We probably don't have what it actually takes to execute per se. But, the narrative around that is actually and it's a subjective conversation to be had. And today we are diving into the nitty-gritty of what is going on, because before we jumped on this conversation, we made a list of shutdowns across board, and we can count in Web3 specifically, we can count up to 5 different shutdowns. The ones that was announced, the one that was not announced, we have no idea about it. So I think I'll bring this into you, Jeffrey. Generally, what is your outlook on this whole shutdown? What is your thinking? Why are they shutting down specifically? What do you think? Okay, this is the reason why they are shutting down. Because we're still going to drive into the Patrica conversation. We're really going to poke the panda when it comes to that conversation. But let's just start with the shutdowns, then we'll get down to the panda in the room, which pushes Patrica. Jeffrey, over to you, please.
Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely like to start with how I see the shutdowns affecting the crypto market in Africa. It really makes us look bad to the VCs because these companies raise a lot of money, and at the end of the day, you have nothing to show for it. So it's a very, very terrible situation for the market in general, especially as developers and as builders. But some reasons I feel like a lot of people shut down is, first of all, market hype. A lot of people come into the blockchain space or the tech space based on just the hype train and everything. So definitely companies that came in through the hype train, definitely most of them are shutting down now. And that's definitely a very big reason of that. terrible security. You mentioned something about Patricia, like what eventually that dive into that, but they had the hack, and that's kind of like why they are in the situation that they are in. So security, coming off hype and technical challenges, a lot of companies try to create solutions that eventually they cannot solve. So that is really a problem, and that's definitely the reason why a lot of companies are shutting down. So I think I'll leave that. I'll pass over to Isaac on what he has to say.
Yeah, Isaac, over to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Why are these guys shutting down?
Thank you, Jeffrey. Okay. Yeah, so it's crazy. It's crazy. Honestly, I was looking at the list of people that have shut down, and then we saw even Pillow, some people that won't try to. If we're even looking at now, you've mentioned most of the ones that happened in Africa. Here in Africa, we look at Laser Pay, we look at Patricia, and then we'll look at this other crypto startup Pillow that tried to extend into Africa, and then after a while, they realized that this what we are doing is not sustainable. It's actually not sustainable. And they came and said, okay, they were just pulling out of Africa. But it was found out that these guys were actually shutting down because their use cases was not. These are use cases. There's something we mentioned in one of our we had mentioned in one of our podcasts. We said the crypto is not just most of these people's strategy is always a bull market strategy. Most of the strategies are always bull market strategy. And then what happens when you are not in a bull market, you no longer have any money to sustain what it is that you are trying to build. Your dreams and all your aspirations and everything is now it's almost like basically it cannot work. Basically it cannot work. It cannot work in time where market is down. When time when market is down. So these startups they need to start to work in a sense that what we are building has to work even in a time when the market isn't good, and then users will still be able to come. And then we've not talked about security or what the way all the startups communicate with their customers. We've not even talked about that yet, and that's something we are going to talk about. Because why would something happen and you are being trying to be diplomatic about it instead of being forward about what has happened? You are creating a narrative. You're creating people have said it that some startups they have a very bad culture when it comes to communication. You don't communicate. First of all, they don't communicate well with their VCs. You don't communicate well with your VCs, and then they definitely know where you communicate well with your customers. Because when you don't communicate, how would you show that you have the character? That if something happens, you communicate with customers and look, this is what has happened, and customers will be able to know what they need to do. People in Africa are looking for. Let's use Nigeria for instance. Nigerians are looking for a way to protect their money from currency devaluation. Do you want them to come to your platform and then after a while, you come and tell them that the currency that they are trying to run away from, now they've come and put it to your platform and their money is gone completely. How do you expect them to survive? It's not, honestly, it is not good. And this is we're just talking about customers. How about big corporations? Big corporations that are making use of these platforms. And so I don't know. That is
you sound angry, right? So I understand. So there's no need to extend it. You sound angry. So, but well, I think like, let's call it what it is. I call it bull market strategy. There is one thing about all my years of building companies and startups in Africa. If there's one thing I've always understood is that Africa is a low income economy, and people don't really have the luxury to pay for services the way most startups are actually. Like, it's hard to make revenue. It's very easy to build. It's hard to scale because you have a continent where you have to put together so much infrastructure just to get things rolling. Because we remember the experience we had at Commie Block when we wanted to build a crypto robo advisor. We have to build a trading infrastructure. We have to build an on and off ramp infrastructure. We have to build so many things just to roll out a product, right? Just to launch something out there. You have to put so many things in place. It takes you a longer time to get to the market. And one of the things that we've learned from experience is, whatever we are building, right? See, you have to put your users first. Because one of the reasons why I think crypto companies in Africa keeps shutting down is they listen to a lot of foreign podcasts. As funny as it might sound, they listen to a lot of foreign podcasts. They listen to a lot of Twitter tweets from maybe crypto influencers from the West. Crypto in Africa has a different narrative where it solves a niche problem. The West has an investment style culture, while in Africa, there is this, what's it called? The average investable assets for so many Africans are not that much. I think it's around $500 or something like that for middle class. Why the low class, many of them don't even have access to actually have the privilege to actually invest in stable coins and maybe other cryptocurrencies or something like that, you might think of it. So one of the things we are seeing generally is this narrative around, what's it called? Oh, the regulatory environment is so hard. Oh, the government has made it so hard. We can't build. We are dead in the water. Jeff, I'm coming to you right now, right? Because personally, I hold a view that narrative is bullshit. In some I will explain later, maybe after you guys have gone, I will definitely explain why I think it's bullshit. What do you think? Do you think that regulation is the reason why these people are shutting down? Do you think it's regulation? Jeffrey, over to you, please.
Nah, I definitely feel like it's no regulation. If your product cannot solve problems when there is no regulation, it can still not solve problems if there is regulation. If a bad product is a bad product, it's not about regulatory standards. So yeah, I feel like a lot of, like you said, Africa they have different use cases. Our use cases for crypto in Africa is way different from the Western world. You said something. We had an episode where we were talking about people using stable coins to pay for school fees. I think I think Egypt, I can't remember, or Cairo. Those people are using it because they don't have a choice. Crypto is basically the salvation. So our use cases are different. When we have those kind of problems, you cannot gonna start saying you want to create just a basic wallet for users. That won't work out. Without regulation, your product is still not solving any problems. So we need people to focus and build solutions, facing problems, facing points where crypto is literally the only thing that can sustain us. So yeah, we need people building towards that.
Yeah, I think I get you right.
Sorry. I want to give you an example. Patricia is an example. When Patricia left Nigeria, what did they say? They left Nigeria because of regulation.
Leave Patricia alone. Leave Patricia alone.
They ran to Estonia.
I think he's talking from his heart.
They ran to Estonia, and yet they are failed and people are crying about their money. Regulation is not the problem.
It's crazy, man.
Leave regulator
crazy. Yeah, because we had this conversation on LinkedIn where somebody posted something about decentralization is the reason why crypto have not been adopted. And what's it called? I think it's one liquidity CEO that said something around that. And then we kind of replied him and telling him that is a lie. Because, see, there's so much bundling narrative around building crypto in Africa. I spoke with a VC that was telling me, oh, can people even access crypto websites in Nigeria? I was like, yeah. It was he never knew. Thought that people are going to use VPN. But VPN, that is, wow.
That's crazy.
It was on a call with him. I just did something on Binance and he saw it. What, people use VPN. Do you think the government is too restrictive? See, regulation is not technology. People think regulation is technology. Crypto is a solution that optimizes compliance and makes it more better. Regulation follows innovation. Innovation does not follow regulation. Take the Paystack story, for example, the Flutterwave story. They built out payment infrastructure. Before Paystack, when Paystack was, Flutterwave was building, there was nothing like PSSP license in Nigeria. There was nothing like PSSP licensing, payment service provider license in Ghana, in so many African countries. People what's their name again? What's the name of these guys? I can't remember. I can't remember the name of this company, but it's a very big payment company in East Africa and also in Nigeria. In one of the fellowship I was in, the basic fellowship, the guy was the mentor. He was telling us that most regulations that are being created for fintech ecosystem in Africa was that the regulators are playing catch up. But in Africa here, when it comes to Web3, because the Western media have pushed this narrative of regulation. See, the Coinbases of the world, the Binances of the world, the Geminis of the world, the BlackRocks of the world, in America, they have the narrative of, okay, regulate this thing. Why? Because they have built the infrastructure to make it work. They have built the adoption infrastructure. They have built the financial infrastructure. They are onboarding institutions. They have customers. They have clients. They have banks that are aligned with their infrastructure service. Here, everybody is building a trading application. And you are telling the government what do they want to regulate? Like, I don't understand what they wanted to regulate specifically. Like, let's drive it back, right? Because people keep saying, regulation is not really the problem why your product is not working. If a bad product I definitely said it, a bad product is a bad product, whether regulation comes or regulation does not come. If your website is not logging in, it's not logging in. If you have 100 licenses, it's not going to work. So I think, yeah, unsustainable business models and probably bull market strategies. Because you can't tell people to pay with crypto for something when they have their local currency. Like, why as a local business in Nigeria, why do I need to integrate crypto payment checkouts? Why do I need it for? Like, think about the user experience process. Okay, for example, you're telling me, Isaac, convert your money to crypto and come and pay me. You are building a payment gateway for a local business in Nigeria. You're not telling like, imagine what you're selling. There has to be a substantial amount of adoption locally for it to make sense for businesses to accept crypto on their gateways. That is why crypto payment gateway products in Nigeria, none of them has gone anywhere. I think Ivory Pay is struggling and making things work out for them, but you need to have a solid strategy. You can't just wake up one morning. The infrastructure basically does not exist and nobody's building anything around it. Thank God for Yuki, right? So I'm bringing it back to you, right? Because Patricia, I have very strong sentiment about it. Isaac, I know you are the point man for Patricia, right? I don't know whether they collected your food from your house or something, but what is your take on that matter? From there, I want over to Jeffrey, and then it comes back to me. What's your take on the Patricia matter?
What they're doing is actually really crazy. If you follow the whole timeline of what has happened with Patricia, first of all, this whole thing according to sources, they said it has happened since January of last year, 2022. But they went on with their activities. At first, they blamed the blockchain congestion. That's what they want to blame blockchain for. That's congestion. Oh, that's why we're not able to process your transactions. So, and that's why it was taking them a while. It took some people about 3 days for them to make withdrawals and all of that. And then they came up with a solution and said, because of blockchain congestion, we have a new application, make use of this new application. And people started making use of those new applications, and they were able to make withdrawals. But it got to a point they could no longer service those withdrawals as well too, because people were already becoming very skeptical about these guys. It's like, let's say these guys don't they run something. Sorry, I'm speaking pidgin. It looks like these guys are starting to run something. And then before we know it, March of this year, the whole news came out. It looks like Patricia has been hacked. Patricia was hacked, and this is why people cannot make withdrawal for their money. Okay, Patricia came out and said, okay, because of what happened, we are going to give you guys tokens, convert your balances to tokens. Okay, and now from converting your balances to tokens, now they have said it's shares they want to give, Patricia shares. So it's going to be a form of IOUs, that will kind of like IOU, so that when people want to make withdrawal. So Patricia is saying that, okay, look, I owe you some certain amount of money, and when we have access, when we are able to make payments for it, we'll make payments for this money. This is not nice. This is honestly not nice. Why did you now move from saying, because when you say you're going to offer the Patricia tokens, you're saying it was going to be 1-to-1 to their whatever balances they had in their accounts. So now that means you're telling us that you obviously don't have any means of making the payment at all. So we don't know how long it's going to take. It might take 1 year, it might take 2 years before people are, is it possible that they've carried out the bank run? Is it possible they've carried out the bank run and people will no longer have any access to those money anymore? So these are things that Patricia needs to clarify. Patricia needs to clarify on that.
Yeah, there is a conversation that has to be had about that. Is Patricia running an exit scam, right? Because, bro, you can't tell me that you are hacked. For example, this is not the first hack story we've heard in crypto. If you are hacked, there is enough analytics and investigative tool to trace to the last kobo where the money was moved to. I had a friend in Dubai. He's building a gaming infrastructure. He had some funds on his cold wallet and he was hacked on his MetaMask. He was hacked. Then this is just a single entity. It's just a person, not like a company. Then the fund was hacked. That was around $200,000. The fund was hacked. When the fund was hacked, he was able to trace the funds to Binance just using Etherscan. He didn't even employ Chainalysis. Just to Etherscan, and then he was able to inform Dubai police, and then Dubai police wrote to Binance, and Binance froze the funds. The fund is trapped right now on Binance. He's trying to recover the money from Binance in the next couple of weeks. This is an individual person. And you want me to believe that a company like Patrica that has been running crypto for ages in Nigeria got hacked of almost $2-3 million, and they were unable to give an account of this is how this money was moved. These are the analysis of what happened. This is where the money was sent to, and this is what really happened. They came out and say, oh, it was an internal somebody, and then they now say, no, it was it. Jeffrey, please, I'll hand this over to you. What do you think happened?
Okay, so I'm just going to I don't really use Patricia, so most of the information I have is kind of from articles. So apparently they said they got hacked last year. When it was about that, they said they got hacked last year for $2 million. And I also saw in the news about them planning to launch a stable coin to kind of act as a way for their users to be able to withdraw funds. But the crazy thing is they can't really, if you're launching a stable coin, you need to have that much value in dollar to make it float. A company that is claiming to be bankrupt cannot technically launch a stable coin because it's not possible. You don't have the funds. So I think that was kind of what pertained to them eventually transferring into, I think it says something about complete stocks or something. And the funniest part is, so I don't really use social media like that, but I went to my Twitter yesterday, and one of the first videos I saw was literally some guys went to the Patricia office in Lagos, and literally everyone was closed. So it's really it's a very messed up scenario because so many people that are using blockchain technology or using their platform looking for solutions from the so many problems in the country. They're using your platform for that, and you are acting like this. It's really terrible for the ecosystem. It's really terrible for so many reasons. Yeah, it's really terrible. So I don't think it is a hack, because if it is a blockchain hack, you can track it, like you said sometime about your friend. So I don't really see it as a hack, because even if it was a hack, you could make some attempts, but no attempt has been made. So I don't know what it is, but it doesn't look like a hack to me. Over to Dennis.
Yeah, sure, man. Yes, it's said, right? Personally, I don't think it's a hack, because why I don't think it's a hack is, as Isaac mentioned, based on research, Patricia was basically is a non-custodial infrastructure. It's a custodial infrastructure where they hold all the assets on one. They hold the asset private keys to their users and funds. Then the question is to be asked: if you're saying you're hacked, are you telling me that as a blockchain company that's been running for ages, that you literally have one wallet where you keep all the funds for your users? Are you telling me that you don't have enough security infrastructure in place, audits, ZK, NE, like zero knowledge infrastructure that limits access of who access what and who has access to this within your organization? Are you telling me that you don't have KYT infrastructure? Are you telling me you don't have security protocols in place? Are you telling me you don't have employee authentication systems in place to make sure that funds are being approved accordingly? There's so many questions to be asked about Nigerian crypto companies and African crypto companies. What are the operational standards that are being created? Internal operational standards. Forget about the blockchain, gas fees, while everybody's talking about. What are the internal security operational protocols that are being put in place to secure funds? Because you are basically building a bank. And you have to think it from that perspective. When you're building a bank, there are some things you need to do. In a bank right now, see, this is why these Web2 guys are flourishing. because they figured it out. They know they are prudent. They are ruthless when it comes to security and execution. But here, it's kind of like the Hallelujah Boys kind of something, right? Wave your hand on the air, do some PR. Patricia literally sponsored BB Nigeria recently. So I tell you that the money they use to sponsor BB Nigeria, they can't use that money to invest in security. Because it literally sounds like somebody that just put something like they are running their thing on Excel sheet. Yeah, because if Patricia has been having withdrawal issues since January last year or middle of this, like last year specifically, let's not put the date to it, so a month, and then they have been fulfilling payouts, and this hack happened before they announced it. For me, I think at some point Patricia was a Ponzi scheme because they were using other people's money to pay other people. That is actually how I'm going to describe it, right? Because it doesn't sound nice. And the annoying part is that the regulators is quiet. Nobody is saying anything. I think it's only Tech Cabal that writes about these guys. Every other thing is quiet. People's hard-earned money. Do you know what is $2 million in this current economy? With dollar as only, is that not like almost 200 million naira? If I'm not mistaken, with dollar at 1,000 naira.
Yeah.
At 1,100 naira.
Sorry, no vest. Right? It's almost 200 or something million. That is like your money you can use and build road. Can you start do road now? Can you start do this Lagos road that is faulty? Seriously, to be very honest with you, very, very honest with you, there is more to be done. We talked about self-regulation in the last 3 episodes or 4 episodes. There is more to be done. Vibra shutdown, Lezape, Ijoku, great guy, building amazing stuffs. You know, so many shutdowns, man. Like, I know it's hard to build, but I think most times, move fast, break things model doesn't work for so many technologies that are innovating on the go. You can't move fast and break stuffs for a continent like Africa. It took people like Flutterwave years to figure it out. It took people like Paystack years to figure it out. It took people like Paga years to figure it out. It took people like banks in Nigeria years to figure it out. You can't think as a startup, you can't just come in 1 month and figure it all out. And people need to invest in research. You need to really invest in research. Okay, what is actually, because you can't just keep reading Twitter data and then you think that is enough. You talk to 5 or 6 people. Let's think from a business standpoint. What is my business model? How sustainable is this? What is the realistic metric that people are going to continue paying for this service? Okay, how can I take this into market in a more sustainable way? And to be very honest with you, this is a part of the problem. Growth at all means grow. And when companies now goes, and then you now see what happens. So, bro, I seriously, to be very honest with you guys, and to be very frank, the shutdowns do not represent the innovation of cryptocurrency happening in Africa. It doesn't represent it. These are individual and objective shutdowns. They are individual shutdowns. It doesn't represent the innovation that cryptocurrency is having and the impact it level is having on the continent. So, anybody listening in, don't think that this is the end of crypto. I don't even think the list of it. If we tell you the list, the use cases we are seeing every day at Yuki or what people are trying to build on blockchain for Africa, you'll be amazed. So, I see we are very tense and angry today about this whole thing because this wasn't even the topic we're supposed to talk about, but we needed to talk about this. We needed to have a voice in it. We needed to contribute to this conversation. So I'll bring the closer back to Isaac and Jeffrey, right? Like, what is the way forward? What do we do from here? Like, how do we make it better? Because we can't continue building. I was in Selo camp, and then one of the teams were discussing, it's hard to take this into market. So I asked him why. He said, it's bear market now. So wow, why would you have that mentality as a founder? So Jeffrey, over to you, right? How do we make this better for Africans going forward? How do we build sustainable platforms? Because right now, man, we are all like NFT guys. We're just like NFT guys. We're not looking for free mint.
Okay, yeah. I feel like the future for Africa is definitely, I want to say regulation, but regulation isn't 100%. So definitely regulation is going to be a part of that. To kind of like set a standard for any company trying to build blockchain products, because we can't have a lot more of this, of what is going on, then I feel like we need a lot of niche products. We need products that solve specific use cases. Even if it's stable coins, you don't need to offer all the stable coins. Just help people use this particular stable coin for this particular reason. And I feel like niching down to different ideas in blockchain technology, because there's so many use cases. So I feel like there's a lot of potential in finding niches that blockchain can fix for Africa specifically, and niches and probably increase security. But I feel like we still have a lot of good times ahead.
Sure, we do. Isaac, what is going on, right? Like, what do we do from here? Because it looks doom and gloomy for so many VCs, so many participants, market participants, even regulators. I know they will be looking at us from their high-rise offices in Abuja, Nairobi, and they'll be like, look at these boys. Your people are failing. What do you think is going to? What do you think is going to be of us, bro?
So for me, I just have to say, one is I so strongly believe in self-regulation. When we finally crack the code on self-regulation, we are going to put a little bit over. We are going to go a very long way in this. And then another thing I would like to say is, like Dennis mentioned, this is also part of the problem. This is the need to understand the narrative, especially when it's for Africa. They need to do very good research, and they should not look at Africa with the same mindset and the same mindset that they look at Western like the West, exactly, just like the West. So they need to come down to what it is that we have here in Africa, speak to people, and understand our markets very well when it comes to crypto in Africa, or Web3 in Africa. Thank you.
Yeah, I think interesting take. Another thing I would say is platforms stop investing in education. So listen, you can't pay people to learn crypto. It's the worst business model I've ever heard in my life.
You're just wasting money.
Bruh.
Because the money you give that person, actually needs to do something for himself. It's not using it for anything you want.
Wait, they do it. Wait, that is people to learn about crypto. They pay people to learn about.
They pay
Oh no! I didn't know that.
Vibra does that. They pay people money to learn about crypto or something like that. I think Mara had now program where you learn. See, listen, the problem of crypto adoption in Africa. The problem of crypto adoption in Africa is not an academic problem. We have like very low literacy rates across Africa. People haven't even learned basic math and English and things they need to learn. You want them to go and understand the complexities of how blockchain. Okay, you're teaching them. Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin this year, and then the smart contract will launch.
You didn't know that. You didn't know that.
Just build a good product that is usable. It's simple. I know you're like, what do you want to? The basic things. You don't need to make a maxi out of your users. See them as customers. Let me even use this statement. See them more as customers than users. Because the more you see them as users, the more you want to make them maxis. You don't need to make a crypto dungeon of somebody calling you. See, does this thing help me? Before we jump on the podcast, we had the customer coming in from Canada. They want to be able to use our platform to build something that helps them move money from Nigeria to Canada, back and forth, and something like that. The question the guy asked me, we didn't even discuss what blockchain. He didn't even discuss what are the gas fees. We didn't even discuss, are you a Ethereum maxi? He didn't even discuss, do you support Bitcoin? He even discuss, do you understand halving? Just say, can your API work? Yes. Let's sign contract.
Easy.
That is a mindset. I will keep saying it. Stop saying I'm building a Web3 platform to decentralize the movement of money. Stop saying it. Please stop saying it. Just say I'm building a bank. I'm building a payment platform to help people move money to from Nigeria to Kenya. When they now ask you the technology you're using, say I'm using blockchain to make it faster. Stop putting the blockchain before the user. Put the problem before the blockchain. Blockchain is an optimizer. So many solutions are solutions looking for problems. They are also certain. That is my opinion. And see, pay less attention to regulation or getting a license. Focus more on making sure bad actors are not using your platform. You have enough KYT infrastructure, know your transaction, making sure that you're checking things, making sure people are not using their money to move illegal funds. That is what regulation is all about. Regulation is not a big mark. Regulation, even if the government comes out tomorrow and regulates crypto and the wallets are not usable, nobody will use it. It's simple. Regulation is not the magic wand that drives adoption. So let's play from that light. We are very passionate about this and we are saying it out loud because we feel that so many people are getting the narrative wrong. There is a nuance to all these conversations, right? There's more conversation to be had about it, but the basic conversations about regulation being a very big, massive roadblock to crypto adoption in Africa, there's a nuance to it, but it's not the full reality because I've not heard that there was a crypto company in Nigeria that the government went to go and shut down. As if we had this conversation yesterday, I've not seen anybody that was shut down.
We've not seen one.
Yeah. So that is the take, right? There's no long talk in this conversation. Build platforms, build purposeful products, have sustainable business model. And for crying out loud, founders, find the guts to charge your users. Charge users for what they are using. It's not free. You are paying, you are building a business. You're not building an NGO. If you want to do a non-charity organization, that's a different conversation entirely. You're not building an NGO. And stop saying, we are creating a blog and creating some things where we are teaching people about how to use crypto. Wow. See that academic process you're going to teach people, productize it, collect feedback. People are so busy with their lives that they don't have the time and energy to sit down and start reading about. It's just people that want to trade or people that have nobody comes and say, I'm taking the class or how to learn how crypto works. Some people that want to go as a user, as a basic customer. That is not what I'm supposed to be doing. So I think we call it a day here, right? We call it a day. Yeah, man. So we call it a day here, and we can't wait for episode 9. Once again, I want to say thank you to Jeffrey, thank you to Isaac. Jordan wasn't able to join us today, but overall, we are doing so great in the numbers. I'm just very glad. We are even launching another show called The Cast, where I talk to business leaders, CEOs and operators of Web3 and VCs and big names in the space across Africa. We'll be releasing the first episode next week, so watch out for that as well. From us to you and from everybody here at Yuki, thank you and cheers. Remember, the Frontier is brought to you by Yuki. Yuki is a infrastructure as a service company building the next generation of custody and compliance and wallets infrastructure for Africa. Thank you and have a great one, everybody. Cheers.